So one day, my PA came to see me. Oh, this gentleman on the phone, and the guy is almost in tears. And, I got something. My daughters have her compromising photos of her leaked by her ex-boyfriend. Too much screen time affect the brain's development. For Singaporeans, parents are a bit more kiasu,
Yes.
It affects their PSLE grades.
Why should I vote for, I think, Tan Kiat?
If my kids are voting age, then I'm an old man by then.
Yeah, you might PM by then.
No.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
Hello everyone, my name is Alan Wu and welcome to another exciting episode of Call Us Daddy. Today we have a very special guest who wears many different hats. He's a senior minister of state. He's also a member of parliament for East Coast GRC. And perhaps most importantly, he's also a daddy. So that's why we have him on the show. Joining us here today, Mr. Tan Kataw. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the show right now. Of course, we're going to talk about politics, but also about parenting and maybe how becoming a daddy, a father, has maybe reshaped your ideas and vision on leadership, legacy, and Singapore's future. So without further ado, let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
Look, I know you got into politics a little bit late. I know parenting might be a little bit late. Out of these two, which one do you think is more challenging for you right now, Kataw? If you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 48.
48, okay.
Yeah, so close to 50. And we were just chatting with Alan and his kids are, university and national service. I said, wow, I'm so envious of you. And my kids are all still in diapers.
How has it been though, I think, being a father and I think also politics? Which one do you think is more stressful or demanding?
Its own set of challenges. But for me, the role as father is of course the most important. A politician, you try your best, and and the voters vote for you or not vote for you. They have a choice.
Yes.
But my kids don't have a choice.
They're stuck with you, whether they like it or not.
They're stuck with me, and I darn well do a good job to be a father, to be with them, and journey with them. So that's how I think about it. There are many hats I wear, but please make sure that I don't drop the most important ball, which is being a father and a husband to my wife.
Fantastic. How did you find that passion or decide to get into politics?
Prior to joining politics, I was in the civil service as an officer. And in a way, I felt I was contributing to developing Singapore, creating opportunities for Singaporeans. And politics was, in a way, an extension of that. Of course, slightly different dynamics and a very different set of expectations in terms of being in a public glare. But I must say that it's a very different life compared to being a civil servant. You're much more in the public glare. I have to do social media and then pass off, I don't need social media. I just be a hermit and do my work, and it's okay if people don't recognize me. But now, as a politician, you do have to go out and engage and persuade people and win people over and share your vision of where you want to bring the country towards. And you have to be much more in people's handphones now on social media. So
absolutely.
That's a very big change for me.
And you're stuck having to come on shows like Call Us Daddy here to have to deal with people like me too.
If I be frank, this is probably one of the shows I would like to come on.
Thank you so much.
Speak to Alan, have a chat, and talk about things that I think is important to me, is family and being a father.
I know you went to Stanford. I went to UC Berkeley. My daughter's going to Stanford, but I know you didn't major in service or civil service back in Stanford. I think you majored in computer engineering.
That's right.
So how did you, pivot or transition out of computer engineering into service, into civil service?
First, I must say that your daughter made the right choice.
Oh, God. She did. She's doing well. Yeah, she's doing very well.
And she made two right choices, doing computer science in Stanford too, right?
Yes.
It's really hard to get into computing in Stanford, and this is one of the most competitive departments. But it's a department where you really learn a lot, meet really great and awesome people, and you have a chance to really change the world. But to me, it's about really making things better. Improving people's life, and technology is one important part of that from my background. And service is a way, public service is a way of getting things done, to making things better.
Has being a father changed your perception in terms of your views as a politician?
It reinforces how I see the world. I think regardless of what work that we do, job, occupation, or the decisions you make in life, you always have to be true to yourself and feel that you are doing something that's meaningful and purposeful. and being a father makes some of these things, decisions I make much more concrete and tangible. Let me give you an example. Getting our seniors to learn how to use smartphones, so can make life more convenient. Getting people to be on, for example, using technology in the workplace. But there are things that I worry about in the technology space, which is all the online harms. Cyberbullying, doxing,
AI.
all sorts of online harm. And when I was in service, was in the, for example, Infocom and Media Development Authority, we have programs to safeguard people from these online harms. But in my mind was a little bit conceptual and things, is this that things worth doing? And now when my son can unlock my phone without me giving him the passcode when he's 4 years old.
Yeah.
When he was 3 years old, I have Amazon packages coming to my place, like Lego toys and things like that. I was like, wow, I was telling my wife, you're so generous with my boy. It's like every day is Christmas or something. And we figured out that my son was one unlocking my phone, ordering Amazon himself, right? And it's a concrete example how I start thinking about online harms, but what does it mean for him when he grows up? And that in a way reinforces how I think about decisions, about policies, about programs.
Is there a way you're trying to encourage or incentivize, I think, the elders, the seniors to be more, I think, technologically savvy?
We started a program called the Digital Ambassadors Program, where we got volunteers and also our own staff, colleagues from the public service, to be in a community nodes where they can provide support to seniors. It was set up during COVID.
Okay.
And remember the time, there was a lot of things have to be done online. You order the groceries online, you speak to your friends, or your children might be overseas, right? And you want to connect with your grandchildren, for example. You do it online. So we started as a whole movement, because it's not just about a physical node, but bringing volunteers on board to come and engage your seniors, to teach them how to use the smartphones, use the apps that are convenient to their lives, whether CDC vouchers, or just knowing what time the bus is coming at the nearest bus stop. And I think that really helped the seniors to get on the digital bandwagon.
That's good.
And making them feel that actually they can learn and they can benefit from technology. And now I have seniors in my community center in Habit of Bedok learning about Gen AI. Amazing. They use programs to find recipes for spaghetti meatball because their grandkids are coming by. And I think that's really quite amazing. And one other amazing thing is actually you talk about young kids learning about technology, very savvy, the senior ones less so. But how about putting both of them together? So we get young people to come and teach seniors. These are volunteers from our polytechnics, our ITs, our universities. And it's not just about technology, but about bonding. And I was very, very heartened when some of the young volunteers come by and say, hey, Mr. Tan, after going out and teaching seniors how to use, uncle, auntie, how to use a smartphone, I appreciate them much more. Because it's not just learning about technology, they spend time together. And so I think grandkids learned how to interact with seniors. And our seniors feel that they are not left behind in the digital age. And that is, I think, what is important, social cohesion. One important part of teaching our seniors to go online is to stay safe. There's all sorts of scams,
and so many.
At NPS, seniors come by, they lost half their savings, they lost a retirement nest egg because of scams. So we always want to make sure they stay safe online too. So it's a double-edged sword. My wife said I'm gullible, So my son will come, Daddy, can I take a photo, because the school said I think I'll take a photo of say SG60 logo, or take a photo of the pet.
He's smart. He's good.
Yeah. So he's the one who hacked my phone and ordered Amazons, right? So, yeah. And I recently adopted a terrapin that crawled into my garden. So it's teacher said you take a photo and send him to, I should take a photo thing. Next thing is like scrolling videos, and next thing my wife will say, what have you done? I was like, what have I done? So I'm the weakest link. I just brought my son to Disney on Ice. Okay. And every kid was singing the songs, but he was the one who really don't know the songs because we don't watch movies, don't watch. And he's still a bit too young. But the Ministry of Health just came up with a set of guidelines. About how much screen time is appropriate for kids.
Yeah, how much is appropriate for kids based on MOH?
Based on some preliminary research, if I remember correctly, please check on the MOH official website.
Okay. So,
but I think if you're below a year and a half or 2 years old, or no screen time at all. And for young kids, maybe up to toddlers, 6, 7 years old, right? 1 hour per day maximum. right?
Right.
If you can do less than that, do less than that. Too much screen time affect the brain's development. For Singaporeans, parents are a bit more kiasu,
Yes.
It affects their PSLE grades. It makes them less focused.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a little bit of addiction. So personally, I have a friend whose kid is about the same age as me, and they're born at the same time as Isaac, my oldest son, my son. My friend was telling me that he watches Peppa Pig and all this Coco Melon and things like that at meal times. So after he heard some of these guidelines, he said, let's have minimized screen time for the kid at meal times. And it took him a long time before the kids even willing to eat at a dinner table without an iPad.
So I think right now we live in a world where it's all about instant gratification. Remember when we were young, like you
Yeah.
talk about rotary phones, dialing up on a modem. When we wanted to get information, we had to get an encyclopedia, look in a dictionary. We had to actually sit there and wait for a show to come on.
Yeah.
Now we want to watch something, it's on right there. We want to find information, we Google it.
Yeah.
Can you just share with us just in general, I think the life of how much time you spend, what's a typical day as a senior minister of state?
But I must say that actually my colleagues work very hard. Firstly, you have actually 3 work roles that we have.
Okay.
Job roles in a sense.
Okay.
First, as if you're an office holder, you have a government job. So whether you're, for me, I'm in the Ministry of Digital Development and Information and Ministry of National Development. So there's a ministry role. So that is the day job that we have. And the second role we have is really as a MP.
Okay.
Right? So as a member of parliament, so we do have a constituency duties, and usually those things are done on a weekday evening and weekends.
Wow.
Right? And the third job we have is really a political role because we still have a party that we represent and party work that we need to do. In a way, it's no different from many other, I would say, working adults, professionals and others who have many, many roles and many demands on time.
Okay.
But I think the most important thing is, regardless how busy you are, is to find that time to say this is a protected time. So for me, I always try to make sure I keep Sundays free. And I always try to spend an evening or a couple of evenings with my wife.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. As a member of parliament, I know there are elections coming up this year.
Yeah.
Especially you're representing the East Coast GRC. Is there any special message that you would like to share with them right now? Or?
Prime Minister will decide, or the Secretary of the party will decide whether I continue and whether I continue standing in East Coast. But regardless of where I stand, and I do hope to continue representing my residents, East Coast, we've built a relationship over the last 5 years. I think end of the day, what this party wants to do or this government wants to do is to create a better future for our children, a better future for ourselves, for the country, and for our children and grandchildren, hopefully many years to come.
I know we've said that you became a father a little bit relatively later in life. Was that always the plan for you?
I always wanted kids. I wanted to have family. So it's not because let's prioritize career, let's prioritize having fun, and enjoying marriage, and it's always a blessing to have kids, no matter it's late or earlier. So for me, that was never a thing. I will prioritize something or other.
Okay. No, I think right now, let's say your kids are my kids' age. But let's say they're like young, they're in the East Coast, and you want to secure their vote. What would you say to your children or my children? Why should I vote for, I think, Tan Kiat?
If my kids are voting age, I'm an old man by then.
Yeah, you might PM by then.
No. I would say, please don't feel obliged to vote for me because I'm your father.
Okay.
Vote for whichever party and whichever candidate they can best secure your future, even if it's not me.
Now I just want you to imagine, let's say one day your kids are Googling their dad. What legacy would you like your kids to remember their father for?
I don't think of it this way, what kind of legacy, or if you Google and what I hope he find out. No. End of the day, all I want him to, hopefully, him to know is that I love him, and I always try to be there for him and make the best decisions for him and the family. And I think that's the most important, that I'm a father that walked the journey with him and was with him every step of the way. And I was there to support him and to able to create a better home for him. And that's all. For the rest, legacy, that's not how I think, And I don't think, personally for me, that's something that I think at all. Because I always believe that you keep looking in the rearview mirror and spend too much time thinking about yourself and the future, you miss out on the present. And for me, the most important ball that I want to drop is to be present here in his life, in Isla's life, my children's life, in my wife's life, and to be here with them.
When it comes to our children, sure, we would love them to go to a, top university or do very well in life. But I think as a parent, you realize once you have a child, all you really want is to see them happy and healthy.
Absolutely. Someone once told me quite wise. I was at a Meet the People session yesterday, and one of the volunteers, elderly, reminded me of a saying. So you can have 1,000 problems. But once you have a health problem, you only have one problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everything else goes away.
Everything goes away. I have a question to ask you too. Now that you're a young dad, a young but old dad, or old but young dad
with young kids. That's how I describe myself.
People always say, it's our job on this planet as parents to teach our children. But I realized after becoming a father myself, even when they were young and I was younger, I've learned so much from them too. I would love to hear, what have you learned? Have you learned anything from your children in being a father?
Every day.
Every day, right?
Yeah, every day. When you interact with them, you play with them, you learn something. I learn something from them, and learn something more about myself too. What's the sweetest thing that I really enjoy having my two kids is that as of now, they are quite close. So every morning I get kicked by my daughter when she wants to wake up, right?
Yeah. You don't need an alarm clock. You get a little kick.
She's on the dot.
Yeah.
7 a.m. I get a kick on my face, right?
Yeah.
And Dada. Now she calls me Dada, right? Yeah. Then first thing she says is Koko. She wants to go down. She wants to give a hug to her brother and spend time with the brother, right?
So cute.
It's really sweet, and it really reminds me of the importance of family. And I learned something about myself too, because it's about being in the moment.
Yes.
Being patient. There are 1,000 issues, 1,000 important priorities, but for me, that at the moment, children and family, that's a priority.
So do you think having another kid, even though it would make you an even better person, have a third child? Would you ever consider it? Is it more you that doesn't want it or your wife?
Tempted. But there are real considerations. First, my age. So
you're a guy, you're fine. You're still young.
Matter more of being a dad at almost 50, I don't know. And my colleagues, my parliamentary colleagues, some of them were my same age, 50 years, slightly 50 around your age.
Yeah.
The son just graduated from national service and getting a job and kid getting married, and my still changing diapers at 50. So it's my own mental model. And secondly, I would say it's really a sense of can I honestly be able to dedicate enough time for all three of them if I have another kid?
Yeah.
And those things I think about, but it has really been a joy.
It has, and it's funny because you say that my brother had his first child at the age of 49.
Wow.
And he's like, oh my God, by the time my daughter graduates, I'll be almost 70 years old. By the time she graduates from high school or is in university, I'm like, that's your own fault for starting so late. But then they always say it's always better late than never too.
Yeah.
I think once you have that opportunity to become a parent, to experience it, it's not always going to be a cakewalk. There's a lot of work involved with your mother too.
Indeed, yeah.
But there's no greater sense of fulfillment to see your children grow up and be the people that they can be.
My son still wants to hug me. My daughter still
enjoy while that lasts
yeah.
too. I can't even get a smile. Everyone always laughs at me when I'm taking pictures with my son. Like, he's always like this. When your child wants to give you a hug, they want to smile. Like, he had the most beautiful smile when he was your child's age, and then now every time it's like I'm just trying to force him to just take a selfie with me, which he's willing to do.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that smile again. Hopefully, he'll break that smile once more. But for now, there's no smile in sight for a long while. But now being a father, and I think also in the public eye as in politics, how have they changed you?
I will put it this way: having been a father makes things much more concrete and clear in my mind when I think about certain policies or programs that we are trying to introduce.
Okay.
But having my kid and now forces myself to say, what if this happens to my kids? How will I feel as a parent? And I think better understand and appreciate where the other parents come from. Let me give you one example. That was about close to 10 years ago. I was in the IMDA. So one day, my PA came to see me. She was in my office or doing some work, and my PA came in and said, "Oh, this gentleman on the phone and he's got calling multiple times, very insistent for him to speak to me. I get members of public calling quite often. So I asked my PA, so what is the gentleman asking about, and why does he want to speak to me? Oh, the guy is almost in tears. He says he's very distraught. And he must really talk to me very soon. So I say hello. I got something. My daughter's is studying university, first year in London.
Okay.
And have her compromising photos of her leaked by her ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's mentally very distressed.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried because she attempted suicide.
Oh, yeah.
And now she's in hospital, but I'm very worried. And I said, can you do something? I did invite the person to quickly come see me and try to figure out things out. It was this company, and people were just circulating those videos of her online, right? And the challenge was the father tried calling the company, emailing the company. There was no response.
Yeah, of course not.
And it was the address was somewhere in US, I think in New York City or somewhere. So he managed to get somebody to go and knock on the office door, and it turns out it was just a PO box. It was an empty office, nobody inside.
Wow.
And I can imagine the distraught of the father.
Yeah.
Right. And what we finally managed to do, it was very lucky in this case, was that we managed to get, because the tech industry, someone who knew someone who invested in a company to call out the founder and say, can you do something about it? And they managed to remove the content.
Oh, that's good.
But can you imagine that if somebody, a father or mother or parent who didn't have such resources access, and what happens to the kid? So now we have putting in place legislation, rules and laws and greater obligations on social media platforms. But I mean, this is just one example of how when you think of online harms. And now I think about it, it was a very more conceptual proposal. But now I say, what if it happens to our kids? Whether it's about safeguarding them from online harm or creating opportunities for them in the workplace. You feel a sense of duty and obligation, but also say, I must make sure I do things right.
Yes.
You're not indispensable to the system, to society, right? But the person that you're indispensable to is your kid.
Because as our children, I think we can choose our spouse. Yeah. We can choose our vocation. We can choose our colleagues, our workers, who we want to be with. Our children didn't choose us,
I endorse entirely what Alan said at one point. Honey, I chose you. I wouldn't choose anyone else. Just in case she takes that out of context, Just want to say a big thank you for having me on the show. It's probably one of the shows I was really looking forward to come on and to really just not prepare and just be myself and have a good chat, and also get tips from pro tips from Alan, of being a father. And I would like just really to say that it's being a real privilege to be a father. I'm learning every day. I'm learning more about my kids. I'm learning from them. I'm learning more about myself, and hoping to be a better father, better husband. And it's really what we want to do in Singapore, to be a society, a community that is made for families. And really, actually 60, there's a baby bonus. So all parents or daddies or mummies who are just thinking about having another kid, go for it. And for those who are thinking about embarking on the parenthood journey, it's really something that I think is meaningful, and go for it.
It is by far the most fulfilling journey that I've been on. And I think just listening to you talk, even though your children are relatively small, I think society's changed so much where in the past, it was traditionally the woman's role, I think, to just be the parent. But to see like you and to see parents now, we're all so involved in our children. And it's so heartening and it's so encouraging and it's so inspiring, especially someone like you who is so busy but tries to make time just to be able to spend with their mom, with your wife, and also with the children.
But that's
too.
an important point.
It's so important.
Yeah. We should have an unequal role between husband and wives in a family. Unequal because I think the men need to do more. In the past, the women have carried a lot of motherhood.
They do all,
yeah. I think men need to do more because I think the mummies go through a lot of stress, a lot of pressures, a lot of stressors.
Definitely physically, I think.
Physically, emotionally, and I think daddies need to do more, not just being an equal partner, but being an unequal partner. To able to lean forward and do more, because it's not just for the kids, but it's for the wife and the relationship and the family.
But it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
No, my
and an
pleasure.
honor too, you know,
No,
to just sit
my-
here and talk to you casually. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
My pleasure. All the best for family and
yours too.
All the best for daughter and son too.
Yeah, go Bears, and no, forget Stanford, man. I'm just kidding, just teasing you. All right, so there we have it. Thank you once again. Oh my God, Mr. Tan, it's such a pleasure to have you on this show. Such an honor. Once again, you're watching Call Us Daddy, old daddy, young daddy. We're not too far apart in age, but our kids relatively are different in age. If you like this show, make sure you like it, share it, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. All the best for the future, and good luck with the upcoming elections.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Kataw.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Thank you.